Welcome back. So today we are doing the Black Phone, not the re-release story collection because I already did the 20th Century Ghost full review, which I'll put up here so that you can watch that first if you want to. You don't have to watch that one to see this review. Just so you know, The Black Phone is a short story that's in a collection by Joe Hill. It is a movie now, so it's been re-released with the movie cover, which is my version, and they renamed it The Black Phone Stories. Originally, it was released as 20th Century Ghost, and it had a different cover. They just re-released it for the movie, put Ethan Hawke's face on it. That's the only difference. It's the same stories, but I did a separate video going through all of the other stories in the collection, and that video is called 20th Century Ghost Gave Me an Ick, because it did. And now we are doing just the 7th story of the collection, which is The Black Phone, and I'm going to be comparing it to the movie that came out starring Ethan Hawke. So that's what this is. The Black Phone is the 7th story in the 20th Century Ghost collection. It is a 15-story collection, technically 16. There's some bullshit in the afterword that he wrote. It's a whole thing. I have a whole fucking 2-hour-long video about it. Go off. But, so, the actual story is 20 pages long. They made a movie out of a short story that is 20 pages long, and it is a feature-length film. So, yeah, they added shit. Lord, did they? Yes. Now, before we get into it, I would recommend reading the story before seeing the movie if you have any interest in the story at all. If you don't, go see the movie. It's honestly good. I liked it. That's what made me read this story collection to begin with. But I think seeing the movie absolutely ruins the reading experience of the story because you fucking know what happens. And the whole point of the story is that you don't know what happens. So, just a pretense. I would read the story first if you care at all. So, the plot, which the movie does follow the plot. They just added in a bunch of shit. So let me just tell you the plot, and this will go for both the book, short story, and the movie, okay? Let's do a walkthrough. There's a small town, where young boys start randomly disappearing without a trace. They start saying that they're taken by the grabber. Their bodies are never found, and there are even rumors that they ran away and aren't actually missing because there's no evidence of, they haven't found a body. So for all they know, the boys ran away, but it's pretty much understood that people, the bigger theory is that they're getting kidnapped and people don't know why or what's happening. The main character, who is called Finney, the main character has heard about the disappearances and played baseball with the most recent victim. The most recent victim was named Bruce at the time of the story opening, and he had just played a little league baseball game. I don't know if it was little league, but a baseball game against Bruce. So they briefly interacted, but they aren't close. I don't know and don't remember if they actually said what grade the main character is in. It gives either late middle school or early high school. I don't remember, okay? The main character, Finney, gets snatched by a man in a black van and injures the guy's arm in the struggle, so he gets taken by the grabber. The grabber takes him to a random house where he is in a specially made basement that he has crafted or was crafted at some point. It's not really said whether or not the grabber actually made the basement because he says some weird things about the basement later on, which we'll get into. But it's a specially made basement for holding prisoners. basically. In the basement, there is a toilet, a mattress, a wall-mounted rotary phone, which is the black phone, and the cord on the rotary phone is cut. So it's just like kind of dangling there. So the phone is not actually connected. You can't actually use it, but it's there. Weird, you know. The boy quickly realizes what happens and tries everything he can think of to call for help and escape. There are an amount of barred windows. It differs between the story and the movie. So that's why with this one, we're going to go an amount of barred windows in the room. And they're like the tall, like basement windows where they're like just like a long skinny sliver of a window. And they're like way up fucking high. Like you can't just reach them normally. And he attempts to break the bars and the glass behind them, but fails. The basement is soundproof, as explained by the grabber himself. And the window may or may not be double paned. I find this important. I haven't seen other people talk about it, but may or may not be double paned depending on the story versus the movie. It's different. Okay, we'll get into it. The kidnapper at one point, well, I guess I should say just the grabber, at one point purposely leaves the basement door unlocked as a test to see if Finney would try to escape. Basically, he wanted Finney to try to escape so that he would have like a logical reason to punish him because he wasn't obeying, right? So he does leave it open. Finney does notice that he leaves it open. Does not try to escape. He understands that it is a test and that he's not actually going to get out. So he does stay in the basement. He doesn't go up. The boy, Finney, figures out that there's someone else living in the house. He doesn't know who or how many people. And that person does not know that there have been hostages in the basement. Because the main way this is seen is he tries to yell when the door is open once he finds out that the room is soundproof, and the grabber quickly shuts him up as if he's afraid that someone might hear. So the entire time the boy is held captive, he has strange dreams of his sister searching for him on her bike. It is discovered that she is clairvoyant, and she's able to find the house where he is being held through her clairvoyance. So she is actually magical, and she's able to find where he's being held. And basically, as she's searching, she's knowingly or unknowingly projecting this into his dreams. The grabber implies that he was the first one held in the basement. It doesn't necessarily say as a child, but I assume as a child. And sometimes he admits to hearing the phone on the wall ring, even though the cord is cut. And he never answers it because he just thinks it's like some weird thing. He's like, the cord's cut, whatever. After a while, Finney starts to hear the phone ring, just like the grabber said. He thinks he's going mad, genuinely. And so he lets it ring a bunch of times because he thinks that it's just not real. But at some point, he finally decides that if he's going mad, he might as well answer the phone, see what's happening. When he answers the phone, an indeterminate number of boys is on the other lines. It changes between the story and the movie, but basically past victim or victims is on the other line trying to reach him. And it is basically implied that these are the ghosts of the boys. The boys are in fact all dead, and they are trying to help him, / one boy is trying to help him The movie's different than the book. Now, the boy on the phone tells him to put dirt in the receiver, because this isn't like a cell phone, it's a rotary wall-mounted phone. So there's like a full like receiver, and they're not completely hollow, but there's space in them where you could put shit. So he tells them to put dirt in the receiver to make it heavy and to use it as a weapon to beat up the grabber when the next time he comes in and like checks on the boy, because he likes to like, he doesn't do anything to him because there's like some logical block in his head where he can't do anything because Finney hasn't broken any rules like in his mind. So he just like stares at him and is a creep. I don't know. So Finney does exactly that. He finds dirt. I guess it's just like, it's different between the book and the story, but basically there's dirt or like bits of cement or like whatever the fuck in the basement. He stuffs as much as it can hold into the receiver of the phone, rips the cord off so that he can freely wield the receiver without it being connected to the wall, and then like waits for the grabber to come and see him. Sure enough, a little while later, the door opens and the boy, psychs himself up to use the receiver as a weapon, but the grabber isn't the one standing in the door. Turns out this is the grabber's brother. This is the person who lives upstairs and had no idea that there was a boy being held captive downstairs. And he had finally gotten curious enough to go downstairs. And so Finney is immediately relieved and is like, help me, right? And then the guy is stupid and slow. Not like slow, but like he starts being like, I knew something was down here, instead of being like, oh my God, let's get you out. Like have your revelations later. And so before he can do anything to help Finney or even like gets into the room, an axe comes down and lands in his head, killing him instantly. And he falls forward into the room. The grabber had taken an axe, put it through his brother's head because his brother had found his secret, so obviously he can't live anymore. So now the grabber has an axe and is now in the room with Finney. But Finney's like, this is my one opportunity, so I'm gonna take it. So he uses the phone, the dirt-filled phone receiver, to beat the guy. And essentially he's smaller and quicker than the guy, so he like gets to him before the guy can like swing the axe down on him. And he does beat him down, and then he is able to take the cut cord from the phone and wrap it around the dude's neck and strangle him. And as he strangles them, and like as he's dying, Finney puts the phone up to the guy's ear and goes, "This is for you," because like it's implied that the victims are on the line, and now he'll finally hear them because he's like answering the phone. And that's the end of the story, the book story. There's some bullshit at the end of the movie that like adds on to it, but like he gets out. That's the story. He gets out. So now you know the plot. Let's discuss the differences. So in the book, the boy's name is John Finney. Finney is his last name, and he just goes by Finney. In the movie, his name is Finney Blake, and then I also saw something that said Finney Shaw. Am I going to go watch the movie again to figure out which one it is? No. Was it a good movie? Yeah. Am I going to rewatch it? Honestly, no. So basically in the movie, it says that his first name is Finney. Why was that a change? What fucking difference does it make? It doesn't. It's weird. It's fucking weird, and that's not the only name change. So in the book, both of Finney's parents are around, and they are involved in the events, kind of. Like they have a police investigation, his mom and dad are home, whatever the fuck. In the movie, only his father is around. His mother has committed suicide, and there is an emphasis on the fact that she was mentally unstable and that his sister, the clairvoyant one, is exhibiting characteristics similar to her mother of what they assume be mentally unstable, what I would say is witch shit. But anyway. So in the book, the kidnapper, the grabber, is described as grotesquely fat, dressed in a Hawaiian shirt, and wearing sunglasses. He also wears a clown mask, on and off, basically. Versus in the movie, he is Ethan Hawke. I don't know if y'all know who Ethan Hawke is. It's him. He's Maya Hawke's father, which is like, I guess where my generation would know him from. Maya Hawke from Stranger Things. Right, he's her dad. He is tall and lean. And the mask isn't a clown mask. It's like a weird devil mask, which we will also go into because I'm going to talk about poster promotion for this movie. So, here's the other name change. In the book, his sister is named Susanna, and she is older than him. In the movie, his sister's name is Gwen, and she is younger than him. Why the fuck are we changing names? It's one white girl name to a different white girl name. It makes no fucking difference. Why make her go from older to younger? Like, I think it's dumb, but I think what the movie was trying to do is put the, like, protective older brother trope on there. Because we'll get into it in a second, but his father is, like, abusive, like, physically abusive in the movie. And so, like, Finney was her protective older brother, and then he gets kidnapped, so now she's having to be at home with her father by herself. So I think that's what the movie was trying to lean into, which is why they made her younger, but also, you don't need it, because I feel like you could still do the trope of protective older sister who is doing everything she can to protect her little brother who has now been kidnapped, you know? Like, you could do it either way and it would be successful. Again, about the sister. In the book, she's interested in the occult and has tarot cards. In the movie, she talks to Jesus and has cards of Jesus and the Virgin Mary. So they made her occult to Christian. I don't know if they did this because the occult witch trope is like too on the nose for like her being clairvoyant, or if they wanted to make a point about religion and Christianity, because they didn't just like make her Christian, they made her go through a spiritual journey in the movie where she is spiritual, then her brother gets kidnapped, she prays to Jesus to give her a way to save him, and she starts having visions, but then basically investigators kind of disprove her visions, or at least think they do, so then she like loses faith, but then come to find out her visions are correct, so then she gains her faith again. It's like a really short like religious journey, and I can't tell if they were trying to do it in like a good light or in like a bad light. I don't know, it's whatever. I wish she was a cult because I'm a cult, but it's whatever. So the father in the book is emotionally abusive and doesn't really care about what's going on in the family. In the movie, he is physically abusive, and emotionally abusive, but it's like big emphasis on the fact he beats them. And an alcoholic, just like cherry on top with that. I guess I want to do like a reason for him to be physically abusive, like he needs to be intoxicated and that's why, like, I don't, fucking whatever. And I think that it just adds emphasis to like a terrible home life, whatever. In the book, he only talks to Bruce, which is the one and most recent victim, but he does know just like the names of the other boys from the paper. In the movie, he talks to all of the victims, and they all have extensive backstories of how they got caught. They lay into the sap train on that. The boys give him real heart-to-hearts. He talks on the phone a lot. It's a real sap sob story with the movie of really trying to make you like feel for the victims. which I'm saying this and like, it sounds so sarcastic to me when I say this, but like, yeah, you want to feel for the victims, but like knowing that this didn't happen in the book, I'm like, y'all are just really trying to like play up the sadness, which we'll get into this in a minute, but that wasn't the point of the story. Surprise, surprise. The point of the story was not to feel bad for the other victims. That's why they weren't fucking mentioned. Anyway. The grabber in the story is a part-time clown. In the movie, he is a magician, and his MO is a bunch of black balloons. I think the black balloons is a cool touch. I also think this may be like very niche, but like the NF album Before Hope, he had the black balloons with the search, and I always thought that was cool. I like black balloons. I like goth shit, you know, but also just the idea of a magician who like has this creepy devil mask and then has black balloons for no fucking reason. It was a cool like imagery in the movie to see. In the struggle to physically kidnap Finney, in the book, he bites the grabber's arm, like bites down on it. And in the movie, he has this like toy shuttle rocket ship thing that has like a sharp point, and he uses that to like stab into the dude's arm and then rake it down the arm. So he does cause like decent injury to the guy's arm, but I would have just bit him, but maybe they thought that was like too much. I don't know. I would have just bit him. Biting is just like a better imagery for like fighting to like save yourself than like, oh, I happen to have a sharp toy for no reason, you know? Because it's not like talked about where he's like really fucks with NASA or some shit where he just like really loves rockets. Like it's just like they gave him a random toy, you know? It's whatever. So here's some main plot, well, not plot, but like kind of plot differences in the story. The basement is one big empty room where everything is visible from the door. The toilet, the mattress, 2 windows, and the phone. All completely visible from the door, and there is absolutely nothing else in the room. It is all like cement blocks, okay? In the movie, the basement has a main room and an offshoot that is like blocked by a half wall, basically. So in the main room, you have the mattress, the phone, 1 window, and then you have also a stack of carpets, like the big like rolls of carpet, and like the shit you put under the carpet is randomly down there, like up against a wall. And then you go around this like corner half wall, and that's where the toilet is, and there's tiles there as opposed to just like concrete or cement, you know? Okay. So this is big to the plot because the more shit that's in the room, the more ways he can try to escape, right? Like all he had in the normal room is he could like try to like grab little snippets of rock that's like breaking down and try to get out the window, but he can't really reach the window because there's 2 of them. There's 2 windows, but they're double paned, so that's why no one can hear him. So he doesn't have many options to get out. In the movie, I would just like to say the window is not fucking double paned. They should be able to hear him from the window. The window is not soundproof, and when they said that in the movie it was soundproof, I was annoyed because no, it's fucking not. It was 1 pane of glass and like a bar, and it's not even like new fancy glass that we have now that's like thicker. It was like old glass because it's like an older house. It's thin and easily breakable and like not soundproof. That shit made me mad. There's literally a scene in the movie where they zoom in on the outside of the house looking into this 1 basement window, and you see him screaming and you hear nothing, which is bullshit. The window should have been double paned. Like, it's not soundproof. That made me irritated. Now, they added random carpets, as if the guy had been renovating his house and then just needed somewhere to stash this like random fucking carpet. What? That's so random. And then basically, obviously, Finney takes the carpets, stacks them up, and uses them to try to like climb up to the window. But he can't get the bars off the window, so like obviously he can't get out. And then he doesn't have anything to like break the glass with. I guess he could like his fingers couldn't like go through it to like break the glass, you know. Anyway, so that was like a point. And then we're also going to get back to the carpets in a second. Why is the toilet not in view? Why is there privacy for the toilet? That seems so weird for like a captive situation. And then why is it switch from cement to tile? Because that's important to the plot, because let me tell you what happens. In the movie, there's like I don't know if it's a full hole in the wall or if he like has to like kind of make the hole, because he still has his fucking rocket toy. Why did he not take the rocket toy? Anyway, he has like the hole in the wall, and then he like uses the toy to like kind of make the hole bigger, and he tries to escape out the hole in the wall because he like makes it big enough for him to like wiggle through. And remember, this hole in the wall is behind the like partition, so the dude doesn't know that it's there. What the fuck? But anyway, he like wiggles through the hole in the wall. It turns out there's a meat freezer behind it because it goes to like the dude's garage. But it's a freezer where you can't just like push open the doors from the inside. Like there's an outside lock. And so he tries to like beat open the doors and it doesn't work. And then the freezer's huge and heavy. So he tries to like tip it, like use his weight to tip it, and it doesn't work because it's too heavy for him. And so that was like an interesting escape attempt. And I think they made a meat freezer because they were trying to be like, is this the meat of the boys? It wasn't, but you know, you don't know that at the time. So that was cool, but like completely made up. And then also the tile is important because there's a cracked tile and it's loose and he's able to pull it up, and then there's dirt underneath. And so he's able to get dirt, and that's why he actually gets dirt to put in the phone receiver in the end. But there's a bunch of dirt because he digs out like 2 or 3 foot deep hole, right? He's not trying to make a tunnel, he's just trying to make a hole, okay? And so he takes all the extra dirt and he flushes it down the toilet so that the guy won't know. And then he covers the hole with the carpet so that the guy doesn't know it's there. And the guy's not like, where's the carpet? Like, you know, it's fucking weird and it's dumb and it's horror movie suspension of disbelief bullshit that makes me so angry. Because basically the guy doesn't know there's a hole in the floor. Finney lures him around the corner onto the hole in the floor. The dude drops through, breaks his ankle, so then he can't really get out, and then that gives Finney the opportunity to beat him with the receiver and wrap the cord around him and strangle him. And like that's where he dies in the movie, as opposed to just like in the center of the room in front of the door as it was in the story. Like, yes, it's more interesting and entertaining to do it this way, but you're adding like a lot of like random shit that doesn't make sense for the room. Like, why is the toilet private? Why would you not go check it? It's really weird. Why did you not notice that the carpets had been moved? Like, it just makes them stupid. Like the grabber's stupid, you know? And so that made me mad. That whole thing made me mad. Like, it's good for the movie, but it's also just dumb. And then also this idea of suspension of disbelief is huge in horror stories, which I like it and then I don't like it. So the times I don't like it is when your suspension of disbelief is human error. It's just people being fucking stupid. Like, not noticing that things have changed in the room, and maybe you should take notice of that because he's probably trying to get out. Maybe he has a weapon. Maybe he has something he can use against you. Why is there carpet on the floor? Maybe you should see if there's something under the floor. Like that sort of suspension of disbelief makes me so angry. Now, I do acknowledge the other suspension of disbelief that doesn't make me angry though. The cut cord phone is ringing and there's ghost boys on the other line talking to him, right? I understand that's suspension of disbelief. Okay, that's fine. That's supernatural. That's ghosts. Okay? Shit we can't explain, that's fine. That's not human error. It's not human error that, like, oh shit, there's a ghost trying to talk to me on this, like, fucking cut phone line. That's normal supernatural suspension of disbelief that we go into with anything, sci-fi, fantasy, anything like that. Fine with it, good with it. Honestly think it's an interesting, like, ploy to have a phone with the ghost talking. It's the human shit that makes me so mad. Okay. In the book, it is explained that Finney is the first and only victim to hear the phone ring because he is in the basement the longest, because he is the longest surviving victim. Now, this is accurate for the movie as well, where he is the longest surviving victim, because the other boys tried to escape. The other boys had already tried to hurt the man, and so then the man gave himself permission to kill the boys, because it's a big thing of, like, the grabber needs permission to hurt the boys. He doesn't need permission to take them, but he needs some sort of, like, logical permission to hurt them. They need to do something for him to act. And Finney didn't try to escape. Finney did scream, but he didn't try to, like, attack the man because he knew the man would overpower him because he already had. So the guy was just letting Finney exist out there, and that made him the longest living. In the book, that means that he was the only one able to hear the phone, because it's said that there is a thing, I don't know, some sort of time frame that's undetermined, that you need that to hear the phone, right? You need that for the ghost supernatural shit to affect you enough to hear it, right? Now, in the movie, he can hear the phone immediately. Like, he hears the phone on the first day or second day, like sometime really soon. He hears the phone. All of the boys heard the phone, and they all answered it, and they're all on the other line. And they have, in the book, he only has 2 conversations, and they're both with Bruce, and they're both very, very quick and to the point. In the movie, he has lots of conversations with multiple boys, and they're long. They're very long. They're a lot of, like, exposition, right? It's not, like, it's implied that the boys are trying to help him, but then it's also, like, they don't remember their names because they've been a ghost for so long that they don't remember, like, permanent things. And whereas in the story, it's like Bruce is there, and he's like, yeah, I don't remember my name. That's beside the fucking point. Because Finney's like, is this Bruce? And he's like, sure. Put dirt in the receiver. Beat his ass. Like, you know, they aren't fucking around. They're like, kill him. You can do it. This is how. Do it. Now, let's go. You know, like, this bitch is 20 pages. Quickly, let's go. The story just ends with Finney strangling the grabber. That's the end. Puts the receiver to him. This is for you. End of story. I think it's a good ending. I like it. Movie, he walks up, like, he goes upstairs, he goes out, the police are there because they finally listened to his clairvoyant sister. They have, like, a big reunion. There's investigators. That's, like, a whole side story, that there's investigators going on and talking to the sister and trying to figure out if she is actually, like, has information or if she's just crazy. Like, it's a whole thing. And then they show a little bit of time passing, and he's, like, in school, and he's cool now, which makes no sense, because why would you be cool now? You would be, like, traumatized. Like, I guess initially people would be like, oh my god, he survived, we need to go talk to them. But then, like, you would be traumatized. And instead they're showing him as, like, okay. And then he, like, sits next to his crush because finally has confidence to talk to her. And it's like, that would not be my concern if I escaped a kidnapping. I would not be like, oh my god, now I finally have enough, like, courage to talk to Lindsay because I almost died. Like, what? No. It was just savvy movie stuff to be like, it really was a good ending. They made it out. Like, whatever. You know? So let's talk about overall. Let's talk about my thoughts. The book, fast paced and to the point, which I love. Because horror movies that drag shit out make me so annoyed. Because you're trying to farm sympathy, you're trying to like really make them feel bad for the character, and it's like you are already gonna feel bad for the character. They're getting axe murdered, or whatever's happening. And it's quick, to the point. I like it. I appreciate it. This is the reason that I think you should read the book first, and why, if you are directly comparing the book to the movie, I like the book better, and I don't think the movie captured what the book was trying to talk about. Standalone movie, great. Compared with the book, though, it misses the point. The point of the book isn't a like, ooh, horror, kidnapping, freedom, like story. The point of the book is the hopelessness of being caught. When you read the story, it is not implied that Finney's getting out at all. There isn't hope. Like, he sees the visions of his sister and he just thinks he's mad because you don't actually know that she's like clairvoyant for real. He just thinks he's dreaming of like something good happening. He is going mad. He's losing himself. He is in throes of depression. And the main thing is he's like coming to terms with death. This is a sad story as you're reading it. You do not think he's getting out. He basically settles with the idea of this is how he dies, and it's going to be a terrible death. And that's what the whole story is about. Because he gets kidnapped on like the first page. There is no like, oh, this is Finney and this is what he does and he goes to school and this is his sister. Like, it's none of that. He's kidnapped on the first page. Like, taken, and then he's just in the basement for the whole book. And it is so sad and hopeless and solemn. And like, the whole point isn't the kidnapping. It's just the mind-numbing sadness and disappointment of the fact that you aren't getting out. You're gonna die. And you're coming to terms with the fact that you're gonna die and this man is gonna kill you. And you're settling that with yourself, right? That's what the book is about. And that shit is nowhere in the movie. The movie is, he's trying, he's fighting, he's never giving up. The boys are helping him. This is a whole thing. The whole town is coming together to find this boy. They're gonna take down Ethan Hawke. Like, it's very much like a hopeful horror story, and it's very much a slow burn. Everything is built up slowly. It's hopeful, especially whenever it goes back to his sister and you see how hard she's trying. And you really see a sense of like, he'll make it. Basically, you like you're there suspension of disbelief, but like, he's gonna make it. In the book, he's not. It is like miraculous that on the last page he's able to strangle the dude. Like, he himself is surprised that he has cheated death because he was so sure of the fact that he was basically already dead. And the movie doesn't capture that at all. And it makes me sad because I don't, like, honestly, now that I think about it, I can't think of a horror movie, maybe like Saw movies, but Saw movies are very much like shock horror with like how gross they are. But like in the Saw movies, most of the time the people are like, okay, so this is how we die, you know? Like, so I guess the Saw kind of talks about it, but they don't talk about it in like, it's more of a shock horror way as opposed to like a very sad horror way of like, I haven't really seen a movie where the person is just like alone with their thoughts, deciding that this is how they're gonna die and going through the depression spiral of this is how I die and this is my like legacy on the world. And I like, obviously that would have been a completely different movie, but I think it would still have been a good movie. I would have liked it because I love like psychological studies of shit like that. So I do hate that the movie was much more just like a straightforward horror movie. And that's why when I say when you compare it to the book, it takes away from the movie. Because the movie on its own, it's a good horror movie. It really is. Ethan Hawke kills it. So I don't think the actual like plot itself is like amazing or masterful. I think it's interesting. I really like the take of until he gets out, you don't know that he's getting out. You pretty much reside with him that he's just gonna die. And this is a story about a person dying. It's like giving Adile dying. I love that book. But she's already dead. And like the whole point is they're with her corpse. Anyway. But I don't think it's like some crazy thing. I think it's just like a straightforward kidnapping story with a Joe Hill twist of like surrealism, you know, surrealism, supernatural, whatever you want to classify it as, but of like adding in the phone with the Ghost Boys was like the little Joe Hill throw in. And I think it's fine. I think it's very middle of the road, very average, not good, not like amazing, not bad. And the same thing for the movie. I think it's very average, very middle of the road, not like amazing, not like bad. Just like as the plot itself. Okay, now I finally got to the point where I talk about Ethan Hawke. Ethan Hawke slays. Fucking kills it, my guy. Oh my, he kills it in this movie. I love it. He's creepy. He's intimidating. He's crazy. Like, excellent acting. The other people acted fine, but Ethan Hawke killed it. And there's a specific scene where I was like, he's going hard. Like, he's going for the creep factor. And the specific scene is at the point where he leaves the basement door purposely unlocked to try to get Finney to escape. In the book, you don't like see what he was doing upstairs. He just hears from Bruce that the grabber's waiting upstairs to like beat him for trying to escape. In the movie, you see him upstairs, and they do this like pan shot where it like goes upstairs and it goes into the kitchen, and Ethan Hawke is sitting there shirtless, breathing really hard and aggressively with the mask on, and like I think it's a belt. I forget what he's holding, but like something to beat the dude, and he's like wild, like man spread, wide leg stance, just like breathing hard and shirtless, and it's just like viscerally weird and creepy. And once the movie hit that scene, I was like, this is good. Like he's doing it. I like it. He slayed it. Like props to Ethan Hawke. That was good. Okay. Now, do I recommend the story? Because obviously I recommend the movie just on its own. Do I recommend the story? If you're interested in it, yes, and read it before you watch the movie. If you need to buy the collection to read it, don't do that. Because I don't recommend the collection. So, you know, like, go and read it at a library. Or, like, stand in the... It's only 20 pages long. Like, you could, like, go read it while you're in Barnes & Noble, you know? So now let's talk about updates from the movie. Apparently they're making a second one. Why? Money. That's why. Like, so the first movie has an 83% score on Rotten Tomatoes, and it earned $161 million at the box office on a budget of $20 million. And so this is a very common thing for horror stories and horror movies. A lot of times they have relatively small budgets when you're talking about like Hollywood movie budgets, because you know Marvel is out here with hundreds of millions. A lot of times horror movies are like tens of millions, right? So this one was 20 million. The box office, they made 161. So even if this isn't considered like a super successful, amazing hit movie, they made oodles of profit. So guess what? Now they're going to make a second one. And this is stupid. To be very honest with you, I think it's dumb. This should be just a standalone movie. It really should. And it's very much giving A Quiet Place, though A Quiet Place is a much better movie. A Quiet Place is so good. Oh, it's so good. That shit was good, especially in theaters. So A Quiet Place, you have the first movie, and it slaps. Oh, it is good. And it's a self-contained story. And then they were like, we're making A Quiet Place too. And I was like, John Krasinski, what in the shit are you doing, you mother-hungry bitch? Like, you money-hungry bitch. A Quiet Place does not need a sequel. You let that shit sit. And you just leave it. No, they made a second one. What's the second one about? The same thing? Stupid. 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 The second one was weird. They were trying to add lore. It was weird. It didn't work. It was annoying. And now they're making a fucking another one, which is, did they call it Day Zero or something? It's supposed to be the first, like, days after the Quiet Place, like, the monsters attacked, basically, which I think could be good as, like, a backstory prequel thing, but throw away the second one. You really don't need it. Like, just throw that shit away. That ain't it. And I'm worried that that's what's gonna happen with this. Very worried. Because, like, we're gonna make another one. About what? He's dead. And so the only thing I can think of is that they're gonna do it as, like, a prequel, where it's about the grabber being in the basement and why he was down there, and what led him to, like, trapping kids in the basement, and, like, the history of why the fuck the phone is down there in the first place, which could be interesting. It could. But is it needed? No. Is it just a cash grab? 1000%. It's just a cash grab. Like, and that just annoys me, because, like, am I gonna see it? Yeah, because I want to know. But, like, would I be perfectly content it just being one movie? Yes. Duh. And then the last thing I want to talk about is the advertising for the movie, which I did think was good, because they used a lot of just, like, shots of Ethan Hawke in the devil mask. And that's just creepy. Like, so my book cover, it's just Ethan Hawke in the devil mask with his, like, hat on and glasses and shit. I think it's good. I do like this as a poster. Do I like this as a book cover? No. I hate movie covers of books. You're just using celebrity to sell your book. That irritates me. Artistic covers, drawn covers are always going to be better than a movie poster. Now, this as a movie poster, though, not a book cover, I do like it. It's creepy. It's unsettling. I like it. It's good. It's a good poster. Like, it's fine. And so I drew this one in the thumbnail, and then I also drew this one in the thumbnail. And I found multiple movie posters, like artistic ones, and as far as I can tell, they're real. So that's why I'm going to talk about them like they're actual advertising. Now, this one, I also liked it. Also drew it for the thumbnail as like another movie poster. I like the minimalism. I like that it's only black and red. I think it's very startling. I love that the blood on his hands drips in to make the black phone, like, the words. I think it's great. Do we notice a fatal flaw? You probably don't yet, if this is just a drawing. Okay, so in my drawing, it's just Ethan Hawke with bloody hands and then the black phone, right? Right. Now let's look at the actual poster. Do we see what I left out? Because I left it out for a reason. What is that? A tabletop rotary phone. A tabletop rotary phone. It is explicitly said in the book and the movie is a wall-mounted rotary phone. They look different. They do. And in multiple posters, it's a fucking tabletop phone. Like, look at this poster. It's a tabletop phone. And I understand that the tabletop works better for the image. But get your shit straight. And now, I will say that this could have just been a miscommunication with the poster designers. It really could have. They could have just said rotary phone, and then the poster designers thought it was a normally rotary phone. But why I'm still mad is because they had to give this to marketing. And the marketing was like, yeah, fuck it. Girl, y'all know this is the wrong phone. That shit makes me mad. That shit takes my art degree and absolutely makes me lose my mind. I can't, like, it makes it so I can't pay attention to it. It's like it's a flashing neon sign of, like, they got the phone wrong. And it's not that hard to get it right. Like, just send a picture from the fucking movie. Like, send a still. Like, they had the mask. They drew the mask completely accurately. So they had to get a picture of the mask to do that, which is probably just a still from the movie. So just send a still of the phone on the wall. It's the attention to detail that this did not have, which also screams cash grab. I don't know, this whole thing screams cash grab. Because it's not, like, remarkable. It exists. I don't mind it. As, like, a movie, I do mind the posters. But as, like, a movie, I don't mind it. As a book, it is middle of the road. A part of a terrible collection. But middle of the road. You know? And that is all of my notes. And that is all of my thoughts. I think I covered everything. Oh, I didn't mention in the book his name is Al. And I am pretty sure that is not his name in the movie. But in the movie summaries that I looked up, they just called him the Grabber. And again, I'm not going to go pull up the movie again just to figure out if he said his name was Al or not. But I'm pretty sure he did not. Why are we changing names? They're all just, like, average fucking names. Shit makes me, like, there's no point. Like, when stuff isn't movie accurate, book accurate, and it's easy stuff, it makes me angry. Like, if something is explicitly stated in extreme detail in the book, why is it not book accurate? Like, why isn't he grotesquely fat? There's, like, a heavy emphasis on him being grotesquely fat, which is a thing that which is a thing that Joe Hill likes to do, which he likes to make a lot of emphasis on things that don't super matter, like the appearance of someone or something. But it's a big deal that this guy is described as, like, gross. Like, not just fat, but, like, gross. And part of me does wish they had kept that accurate, but then seeing Ethan Hawke fucking kill it as just, like, a creepy dude did also work for me. I don't know. But a lot of times in movies, it doesn't work for me. Like, if something is explicitly stated and it's as simple as, like, hair color, you know? Or, like, shit like that, like, just get a wig or dye the hair, you know? Like, Jennifer Lawrence is blonde, but she had black hair in the Hunger Games because it said she had black hair in the Hunger Games. Like, it's simple things that you don't have to change. You can just make them right. Anyway, there are a lot of pop culture references in this review. Well, I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.